Hello friends, and welcome to another beer review here on Jimbowalks. Today we are tasting a second non-alcoholic beer, Victoria sin alcohol, alcohol-free, 0.0%. Let's see. As I mentioned on a previous video in Jimbowalks 3, I'm not opposed to non-alcoholic beer. I actually quite like it on occasion, and generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, the better alcohol beers produce better alcohol-free versions, generally speaking. Without further ado, let's crack it open. Very frothy. Now, there's some great alcohol-free beers out there. I generally prefer the tostada types. They're very popular here in Spain, like toasted hops taste. They just tend to carry a little more body and a little bit more intensity, and that toasted hoppiness kind of comes through quite nicely. But this is more akin to a soft drink, in all honesty. I've had far worse non-alcoholic beers. This is not bad actually. It's definitely drinkable. As I would expect, it's a little fizzy, it's a little too sweet, it's very thin. Obviously it doesn't have any of the depth of flavour or any of the intensity of the regular Malaga Victoria lager that we reviewed previously. But this is quite nice. In all honesty, I don't have too much to say about this beer. I think it's fairly unremarkable. It's certainly not bad. I would definitely buy it again. Non-alcoholic beer is far more popular here in Spain than it is in the UK. The offering here is excellent. Almost every beer company has an alcohol-free version, and often several different alcohol-free versions. And they're generally of a far higher standard than they are in the UK. This Victoria Sin, which means without alcohol, is perhaps on the lower end of the good alcohol-free beers, but it's still within that solid 3-star range. As with all non-alcoholic lager, and in fact all lager, it's so much better when it's really nice and cold. What's pleasing is that it does have a very distinct flavour that's immediately reminiscent of the regular alcohol version of this Victoria Malaga beer. It definitely is similar. It's a little on the sweeter side for my liking, it's a little too gassy, but it's pretty decent for a non-alcoholic beer, and you could do a lot worse, certainly. I would say that for this price point, I think this cost me 59 cents in euros. It's unbelievably cheap, and it's actually far better than many others at that same price point. This, as with many other Spanish non-alcoholic beers, is 0.0% alcohol. There's nothing. And actually, many of the so-called alcohol-free beers in the UK are just very low alcohol. So if you have specific reasons why you're not drinking alcohol, then always look out for this completely alcohol 0.0 version. It's a little too much like a soft drink for my liking personally, and that's certainly not always the case. If you haven't ever tried a non-alcoholic beer, or your experience with non-alcoholic beer is very limited, you may have that misunderstanding that all non-alcoholic beer is basically just a soft drink, and that doesn't have to be the case. Many of the non-alcoholic beers really do taste like a beer. They do have that depth in flavour, some intensity, some hoppiness, and especially, as I say, the tostada cervezas, beers here, sometimes it's pretty hard to tell the difference between the non-alcoholic and the alcohol version. I'd say that for me this is pretty clear that it's non-alcoholic. I think if I taste tested this against the regular 5% alcohol Victoria Malaga beer, I would be able to identify this as the non-alcoholic version 99 times out of 100, and that's certainly not the case with some of the higher end non-alcoholic beers. Thank you for watching this beer review. To repeat, today we have reviewed the Victoria Sin Alcohol alcohol-free beer. It is a solid 3 stars. Decent, good, not terrible, not amazing. Why not give it a try?